So we'll get started. So assuming a dignified and comfortable position. Feeling your feet on the floor. Your backside against the chair or cushion. Held up by the earth. And if it feels right, taking 3 or 4 long and slow, deep breaths. All the way in and releasing all the way out. Sensing or feeling that the oxygen is rejuvenating, renewing every cell. And trying to get a sense of the entire span of the body being made alive and new by the breath. From the head to the toes, the entire outline of the body. And moving your attention inward to the face. Releasing anything that can be released in the face. Forehead, eyelids, eyeballs, the area around the eyes, and feeling the cheeks, just shifting downward with gravity. Inviting a softening around the mouth, the tongue, lips, and jaw. With the tension inside the shoulders, allowing a release there as best you can. Feeling into the heart space with interest, with kindness for the sensations there. Noticing the movement of the belly, letting go of any holding if possible. Feeling the weight of the upper body against the sit bones. And really releasing your full weight into the chair or cushion. Inviting a softening of the muscles in the thighs and calves. And shifting attention into the feet. Inviting a spreading out and widening of the feet. Releasing into the floor and the earth beneath it. And now into the hands. Feeling their weight against your lap or the surface they're on. The air against the skin. Touching into the inside of the hands. where the tissues, veins, bones, and nerves are. Sensing the aliveness of the hands from the inside. And scanning the entire body for any places of constriction, and gently inviting a letting go there. Allowing the movement of breath to be the object of attention, if that feels right. And if not, you can listen to sounds or focus attention on bodily sensations. As you feel the movement of breath, wherever it's most prominent, allowing the body and the sensations to lead, and the thinking mind to follow. allowing the breath to settle, to soothe. Any contractions in the body, heart, or mind. Stretching whatever might feel right to stretch. So this week we return to clinging, the source of suffering. And it arises from the sense that it is possible to control things, the external things, and the internal things that might we try to control to lead to more comfort. So an example, as we've discussed, might be, I want to, especially in this area, I want to achieve, have a good career. If I'm successful, then people will think highly of me. This is my identity. And if you think that you are your success, what happens when you're not successful and when your company fails or you make a mistake that's serious or you have a health condition that incapacitates you? Or we identify with our house or our children. So craving that feeling of well-being and ego enhancement or simply comfort is human. We cling to other people, people whom we love and are kind to us, who understand us, and who we can speak to with some relief. And if they leave us or they die, we can feel devastated. And this happens to us all. Even very wise people crave the presence of others when they leave. When Ajahn Chah died, a great Thai monk in the forest tradition, monastics with decades of experience cried and beat their chest and just felt a tremendous sense of loss. They felt that they needed him to move in the right direction. There's a sutta that describes the Buddha's funeral, describes him on his deathbed, and there were devas around, and everyone was wailing that he died. He was described as the light of the world. Amanda, his closest friend, cried and didn't know how he could keep going. So it is profoundly human to crave the people we love when they leave. And of course, we know, as we've talked about, everything in this conditioned realm will pass. And we will be separated from everything we hold dear, everything that gives us pleasure. And it's not bad to desire. We wouldn't eat or make shelter or continue our lives if we didn't have desire, if we didn't sort of have the life force. We wouldn't propagate our species. And clinging to what is pleasurable isn't bad. It simply brings suffering. In our Judeo-Christian world, we tend to infuse a sense of judgment around it. We are good or we are bad if we cling. And yet the second noble truth just says suffering, clinging brings suffering. It's a detour away from happiness and from beautiful mind states like metta, compassion, generosity. And the Dharma isn't indifferent to human suffering, of course. It's actually all about the end of suffering. And so when we cling, we judge ourselves. We tend to judge ourselves. And all that does is create more suffering. And one aspect of suffering and clinging and aversion, which is just another flavor of clinging, one aspect of it is that we identify with what we want, and we don't want things that are unpleasant. We don't want to feel things that are unpleasant because it says something about us we unconsciously or consciously believe. And because of that, we may identify our emotions with ourselves. So when we have difficult emotions, we're ashamed. We're ashamed of jealousy or hostility or anger. We just want to get rid of it. We're aversive. And that is all about the sense of self. Ajahn Sumedho says, we can have metta for these feelings. He says, quote, by having metta for these wretched creatures we lock away inside ourselves, we're opening the door of the prison. We're letting them go. And it's out of compassion rather than the desire to be rid of them. These things can be accepted because we're looking at them with wisdom rather than seeing them as me or my problems. As long as they are mine, I can only hate myself for thinking or feeling this way. And with practice, looking at these things, allowing these difficult feelings, our clingings, we begin to appreciate that emotions are not us. They're simply difficult experiences, sensations, energies that arise and soon enough will cease. And we do cling to and identify with our difficulties, but we don't have to. We've all probably felt in some way that a long-standing burden or difficulty or wound is a part of us. Maybe we think it makes us special, either in a good or bad way. We identify with it. And sometimes it's like we're loyal to them. And yet we can respect the pain that we've gone through without being loyal to our difficulties. We can let them go and realize we're not forsaking ourselves. A skillful way to be with difficult feelings is to be willing to feel them, to embrace them with friendliness, even though they can be difficult and tedious, ugly. So in a little while later, we're going to practice with this. And overall, in general, what we do is we go to the place where the difficult emotions are felt, and we allow them in the body. We really feel them. And we practice with smaller difficulties. You know, you can't right away go to the most painful or difficult. It's a practice, it's skillful. And when we feel them, it softens our attitude into interest. We can be interested in this and kind of just accept that it's here. And we observe that our reflex is to want to push them away. And that's okay too. We see that. And we become more at ease with it all. And so we observe and we are aware this is what it feels like. This is what clinging or pushing away feels like. This is how the body, heart, mind feels when it really wants things to be different. And that awareness helps us move out of the small self that identifies with the experience. Because that which is aware is not jealousy, it's not malice, it's not anxiety, it's not any of these feelings that we most dislike. And it helps us realize we're not these things that we want or don't want. Because we're aware of them. And then we see that they, after having arisen, that they pass away. They cease. Everything ceases in this conditioned world. And so as we work by being with and allowing our clinging and aversion, we gain confidence and awareness. And over time, it leads to more patience with difficult feelings. And we come to appreciate that this human realm is one that is sensitivity to feelings, to physical feelings, emotional, spiritual, mental difficulties. And it's only natural to want to get the good and be rid of the bad. And so just that awareness in the present moment of those experiences gives us the insight that whatever arises ceases. And that's easy to understand as we sit here and think about it. But humans forget it. I mean, we just, on a really gut level, forget. We become unaware because we want what we want and we don't want what we don't want. And we're afraid that whatever is right now will stay. Except if it's good, if it's pleasant, we always have an underlying worry we're going to lose it. So the lesson of impermanence has to be relearned. But that makes it sound cognitive, and it's not. We have to continually practice. Practice with the feelings that are difficult. And practice on the mat, on the cushion. Because we see that our breath is so profound. We see how it, over and over, it comes and it passes. Just like each of our lives and every experience. And when we sit, we also see how irritations arise and they pass. And beautiful insights or emotions, generosity arises and passes. And realizing that about what we crave or are aversive to is profound. It's profound to realize that an object of desire is simply that. And it's also profound to realize that our craving is just that. It's not us. And we will practice in a moment being with clinging or aversion. But before that, I want to, mention that we can turn over the long run to the Dharma. That's what gives us lasting growth. We can look inward and create beauty inward. All of the objects of clinging are part of the external world, even if we're clinging to our own beauty or our own success. And the Dharma guides us to create contentment inside ourselves. The Dhammapada, verse 183, says, "Do no harm, practice virtue, discipline the mind. These are the teachings of all Buddhas." So these three elements, being harmless to oneself and to others, practicing what is good and wholesome, what is virtuous for oneself, which includes the qualities, the heart qualities and generosity, and training the mind, which is primarily through meditation. And that allows us to do the first two activities, to be harmless and to live virtuously. Those three are sort of the major elements of the path toward liberation. And you might notice that for yourself, that the more generous you are, or maybe the more you practice meditation, the more inner contentment you have. And simply a generous act of kindness or just extending yourself or giving help, it really does enlarge us beyond our separate self-interested selves. And it makes sense because when our minds, like a hand, are closed around an object of clinging, it can't open. It can't open to beauty or to explore the world, to touch a baby, to paint a picture. It's our view is zeroed in on the object of clinging. And we're all about that. We're all about this separate, needy self. As opposed to when we practice and cultivate metta, some form of metta. And when we live ethically, it nourishes us. And we're no longer beggars, limited by a sense of urgent, selfish need. And if we do, or assuming we do practice an ethical life and we cultivate beautiful heart qualities, we'll still experience clinging and aversion. Right? I mean, Ananda did. And yet there will be more space to hold it, more space surrounding it, more resources supporting us as we meet that. So now we will do a practice, meeting our clinging. So taking a upright position, alert and relaxed. With the eyes closed, if that feels right, or looking softly down. And calling up a sense of clinging or aversion that involves thinking. We don't want to get lost in the subject matter of thinking. Just turning our heart and mind to the suffering it causes. Or at least the suffering involved. Remembering sort of the trains of thought, how they feel. Maybe there's a weight or a pressure with this thinking. It can be about a positive attachment or a pushing away. Where in the body is this pressure felt? Might feel like a contraction, a fear, a strong wanting. Anger that things aren't different. Or sort of the crush of grief. You might feel it around the eyes, forehead. Maybe the chest or arms or belly, the throat. Just gently asking, where are you holding this? Where is the body feeling this? And for now, just feeling it. Maybe it helps to soften around the outside of it, giving it more space. Giving it time to be here. Just gently allowing, perhaps even cradling it. As you feel it, perhaps there's the possibility of a greater release. Just a possibility of it. Of some letting go. Perhaps when it's ready and the conditions are right, it will release or thin out. Or fade a little, bit by bit. Sensing that whatever wants to go will go. Whatever wants to come will come. As you sit here, there are more things in the world that you're not clinging to than that you are. Feeling your way into what it's like not to cling. Maybe you have no attachment to your glass of water or the salt and pepper shaker or the street light outside. And what is that like to have no attachment? Is there any attachment to the idea that you have to figure out or manage this clinging? And is it possible to be aware of the clinging and just allow it to be? There's clinging, and then there's a lot of non-clinging. Recognizing that you're not clinging to an endless array of things in the world. Maybe this will help you allow your clinging to be with your clinging, to not resist it. Is there a lessened sense of identification with the clinging? Sensing in you that there is a wide space where there's no clinging, and it's big enough to hold the clinging. It's okay to let go and allow. Just allow the clinging or the aversion, not to resist it, to let it be, to feeling it. May the merit of our practice benefit all beings. May all beings be safe and protected. May all beings know great and natural peace. May all beings awaken. May all beings be free.